And we are live, and welcome to another fantastic Wisdom Circle. Of course, my name is Sophia from Sacred You. More importantly, with us today on this great topic is the beautiful Jennylee, who's joined by women from all over the world on being you, living life authentically. And Jennylee, as you mentioned, I think this is number 9 in the series, and I'm so looking forward to sitting back and watching it. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and we shall be back at the end to wrap it up. So thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much, Sophia, and welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is, number 9 out of a series of 10 specifically on the topic of being you and living life authentically. We've had a great conversation so far and shared a lot of wisdom with many, many women over this time. And we've been delving into some subtopics along the way to really go a little deeper into this topic of, what is it to live life and just be you? It's something that I hear in my own practice a lot is, come in, sit down, slump and go, I just want to be me. Why can't I just be me? That kind of thing. So this is what this topic's all about. Today we're going to focus on the subtopic of healthy boundaries and what boundaries are and how we can put boundaries in place and just have a general conversation around that. But first, before we do that, I would like to introduce the women that are speaking with us today. And if I could ask Shaz to come in and just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do and what this topic means to you before we get into the real juicy stuff.
Thanks, Jennylee. I'm Shaz. I'm a life coach, psychic medium, and a podcaster. So I live in Sydney, New South Wales. I have a spiritual business and work with women all the time. Boundaries is one of the big things that I teach and help people understand because when I was growing up and even in my early, as you can hear, it was a problem. In my early 20s and 30s, I had none. I didn't even know what a boundary was. So this is a very interesting topic for me, and it actually, in my own healing journey, as I work through different things, and I've been doing some very deep healing, highlights different aspects of how important these factors are and what's important in being you. I live a very authentic life. I don't do things outside of the realm. And even yesterday, I set a very strong boundary. I had someone that wanted to do some co-working with me and some collaboration, and I just didn't agree with their perspective. And I won't align my name, my brand, or my business to something that goes against what I teach. So it's very aligned.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. You're in the right place at the right time. Okay, Sarah, would you like to come in and introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jennylee. Sarah Raccasano here. I'm an author, motivational speaker, and the founder of Embolden Adventures, which is an encouragement platform that inspires personal, professional, and spiritual development and transformation. So I'm excited to talk about this great topic because it's an important one about alignment and knowing your worth while you're setting the boundaries that, are going to be good for you.
Welcome. It's good to see you again. Laura-Lynn, would you like to come in and introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, my name is Laura-Lynn. I'm located in South Florida, the United States. I am a communication expert, keynote speaker, and published author. I created a communication system called Chat, and it is how I found my voice. And like Shaz, this is a very personal topic. I grew up in a environment where my no didn't mean no. And so learning how to create boundaries in adulthood that supported me was a game changer in my life. And it allowed me to stop abandoning myself and living for myself. So I'm excited to be here.
Beautiful and welcome. This is your first Wisdom Circle, I understand. Yeah. And Joanne, hello again. Would you like to
Hello. Apologies. Who said there's no traffic in Byron Bay? I'm from down under in the beautiful countryside of northern New South Wales. So thanks for having me, and it's lovely to see you all. I love this topic, boundaries. Isn't it something that it was something we all had to learn? Because I think, we grow up with believing that we have to please everybody and be a good girl and all the things that create us, unconsciously in a lot of ways that create, that cycle of people pleasing. And that was certainly one of my things. And so I'm really excited about this. But I work with women, and this is actually one of the topics that we cover in my Empower You and Finding You programs. I'm trained in quite a few modalities, but mainly use NLP and hypnosis, regression therapy, been in the health and nutrition and wellness spiritual realm for over 4 decades. So it's been an evolvement of learning and still learning the no word in a kind way. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Beautiful, thank you. And I don't know whether you can hear background noise, but apologies if you can. Great, that's good to know. So I didn't introduce myself. I am Jennylee Taylor. I live on to about 2 hours north of Sydney in New South Wales, Australia, and I've just been out whale watching this morning. I was telling the others, which was amazing. And I am a breathwork practitioner and trainer. I've been doing this work for about 10 years, but really been on the personal development path on my whole life. I'm also the founder of Women with Spirit, and who I love to take women out in the outdoors and go on multi-day hikes to empower ourselves and just stretch where we are and go beyond our comfort zones. And I'm also an author, a new author, which is exciting. So today, I guess I'm hearing already that everyone on this call has a story around boundaries. But first of all, I wanted to open the conversation up to, when we talk about boundaries, what does that actually mean? What does it mean to know when you're not putting boundaries in place or putting boundaries in place? Basically, what's the definition of a boundary? Because you can have boundaries physically, you can have boundaries energetically, you can have boundaries spiritually, you can have boundaries around your values. Yeah, so let's open the conversation with that. Would anyone like to jump in and start? Just let me know. Yeah? Shaz, go for it.
Okay, so boundaries for me is one, the ability to prioritize your needs above everybody else's and saying no. So stopping the people pleasing, laying down when you have priorities that are important, and identifying what is aligned for you and what is not. As you said, we can have different physical boundaries. People don't like to be so close, or some people like to be a bit more touchy-feely. You can have like emotional boundaries of not being blamed or shamed or bullied into receiving other people's opinions and their judgments, depending on how they want to process that for you. But boundaries at a simple thing is, for me, the value of your own identity, knowing who you are, what you stand for, and loving yourself to the degree that when something irritates you or triggers you, you can then calmly, peacefully explain and put a stop to whatever behaviors are attributing to that.
Beautiful, thank you. And I love that you mentioned the physical boundary thing, because this is something I've recently learned, in the last few years, is around physical boundaries. I'm a very touchy-feely person. It's my touch is my love language. And so I have a tendency to just walk up to people and hug people. And you kind of know when someone doesn't want to be hugged, because you go and get the one-handed hug, or you get the whoa, what are you doing kind of thing. Or and I have a friend who is a hugging expert, which is a real thing. There's lots of science behind hugging. And she just said to me, dude, you can't do that. You really just can't. Yeah, because some people just don't like to be that close. So it really made me think. So often I have to sort of hold back a little bit and go, are you a hugging person or not? I asked, asking permission. And definitely in my work that I do, asking permission around touch is really important when someone's in the healing process. So thanks for bringing that up, Shaz. Yeah. Anyone else have a definition or what boundaries means to them? Laurelyn.
Yeah, I'll come in on the tail of what Shaz was saying. For me, I grew up not having boundaries. And so I had to really learn, and Joanne touched on this too, right? The people pleaser in me. I learned how to people please in order to stay safe in my environment. So I had to really take some time to get to know me on a personal level, as Shaw's indicated. But what I did for me was I created my mission, my own personal mission, my own vision, and then identified my core values. And I use those as a technique of discernment. So, okay, this opportunity came in and it's in aligned with my vision and my mission, but the company doesn't align with my values. And so then it's a no. So kind of a way of set up a system for myself to understand, and then giving myself the freedom to, as I learn, to be flexible and changing what that definition is for me. Because as I learn, I get better in what is a boundary for me, what's a hard stop, no is a complete sentence, right? And so it evolves as I evolve and learn and step more into my own worth, my own authenticity. So that's what I would add to that.
I really liked the sentence you just said, that no is a complete sentence. It's like no, full stop. Nothing else needs to be said. And knowing when that, it's kind of like a real hard no. It's like no, isn't it? Yeah. So
yeah,
thank you, Laurelyn.
And being a people pleaser, it's really uncomfortable to say no and be okay with the full stop, right? Because as somebody who I used to be a people pleaser, I would say the no, and then I would feel like I had to explain it. And that is the people pleaser in me. So I'd be like, no, I don't need to explain it. It's just no, and it's okay. People will be okay.
I know personally I've gone through that process of that defending. When you go into defending mode, you know that or having to explain yourself or explain the reasons why, and it's almost like I want to say no, and I really don't want to. I want you to know that I mean it from a place of compassion rather than I don't want to hurt you, that kind of, and it really kind of diminishes you in some way when you actually have to go into that defense mode. Yeah. Thank you, Joanne.
Yeah, a few things are landing for me here, because yes, no is a complete sentence. But the way personally, I like to soften it. And I like to be honest and authentic in that message. So I don't say no, that's as a full stop. I gently say, look, I just can't it fit it into my schedule, or I haven't got the capacity. It's something as simple as that. So I'm not triggering the other person, because they're holding a lot of their own, beliefs and their own trauma and pain and from the past. So I think it just softens it a little bit for me. And I mean, it could be that also that I don't find that triggering for me, but I just find it's really I love the values. I love, is it aligned with my values and what I want to do? So I do a body check-in if it's an aligned yes, no, maybe. If it's a maybe, I'll sit a bit longer. But I don't have the incline to answer people straight away either. I say, I'll get back to you, because I need time. For me, I need time to really sit and feel whether it is aligned. Is it something if it doesn't bring me joy, it's definitely a no. So there's different methods. I guess there's different ways. And I do like to gently, you know, let people down. I'd say, in a sense, like apologies, but I can't make it. Bang, you know. I don't feel the need to explain myself, but it's just I just soften that blow, so to speak. So it feels more kinder to them, and they're not going into their own trauma and thinking about, oh, what have I done, you know, or their own wounding, their own patterns, and their own triggers. And yeah, so that's for me how I've learnt to keep my boundaries. And I'm like you, I'm going in for the hug, and that's something I had to learn to go.
Yeah.
I just go now. I go because I host women's circles in person, and there's always new people. And then I go, "Are you a hugger?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So
On the way in,
you know, I
on the
try
way
and
in.
soften everything, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's just
And
me.
I think I really appreciate you saying that too, Joanne. And I think there's probably room for both. Like there's definitely the times where you can soften it, and I call it just saying no with compassion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Laura Lynn does that as well. But sometimes there is just like especially if you've got someone coming at you with some force and intensity, like an attack, kind of like a physical or an emotional or a energetic attack. There is a definite place for this is a hard no, stop.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, especially energetically. I find that
Yeah.
energetically I'm a hard no. You know,
Yeah.
I can push back in that realm. But yeah, I agree. And I get also, like, I've got grandchildren, and sometimes I feel like that I'm on demand, and there's a soft way to say no to that too. And I did this week. I said, I'm not available next week at school holidays. And I usually have three of them, you know, and I'm like, I'm not available next week. Sorry, I'm going into retreat. And they're like, oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
It's a good way to look after yourself. So there's
exactly.
actually a lot in what you're saying, and we'll come back to some of it, I think.
Yeah.
Sarah, did you want to add to the conversation? Yeah.
Yes, I think what I'm hearing is it's a theme that I agree with, is the idea of alignment, but it's also the idea of flow, right? It's in flow where the game is going, the dance is happening. It feels right because the connection, the energies are in sync. So when you're out of bounds, when you play basketball, right, you're beyond the line of play, and the ball's out of bounds, the whistle blows, the game stops. So you know that it's not working. And I think that in order to understand it's not working, you have to go within. You have to know your worth. You have to know your sense of empowerment and your true sense of self. Because if you don't, and this is what the game of life is about, we learn this as we go. And when things are out of bounds, play stops, and we get pushed around. We could get fouled. The referee's going to blow a whistle, and there's consequences. So I think that's when I think of boundaries is, it's the stoppage of play. And for me, I think a lot about my time in corporate America on Wall Street and getting pushed around, working beyond the 9 to 5 sort of boundary, having the pressure, the stress, the intense stress, the ongoing stress. And I was talking about this with a friend just 2 nights ago about how trauma comes from the lack of boundaries, being pushed around, being, taken advantage of, and not realizing that you can, blow the whistle and say no. And so for me, it turned into, I think I kind of self-diagnosed myself recently, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it manifested in a way where certain noises, like whistles, really threw me over the edge. I got extremely irate. So noises living in New York City for me were lack of boundaries, whereas was the foul. There was a large skyscraper being built behind my apartment where my bedroom window was, this almost the size of the Chrysler building. And those elevators started at 6:30 in the morning every single day for 6 days a week. And it continued to go on through till 7 o'clock at night. That to me was an infraction of my boundaries from a sound perspective. It was, and I interpreted it, my anger started to really well up because it felt extremely inconsiderate and extremely mean-spirited, that the greed of building this super scraper for luxury condos was more important than the neighborhood's peace and quiet. So for me, it manifested into post-traumatic stress disorder, where to this day, I'm still very angry at whistling noises. Um, lots of different, beeping, trucks that beep, loud noises. And so that's an infraction of my boundaries that I need to now work on from healing. So I think it's important to know, where you need to heal from that foul and that lack of
Mm,
play.
absolutely. I love that analogy of the basketball game. And you just reminded me that everyone is going to have no one person's boundaries are the same. Everyone's going to have a different boundary, and yours, you're sharing with us, is around noise and what triggers you in terms of that noise. I know I can relate to that because I love silence. And I'm really good at sitting in the pregnant pause where most people get really sort of agitated and going, they have to fill the space with noise. And what one of my personal boundaries is people who choose to talk all the time when we're walking in the bush. There is definitely a time for that, and there is definitely a time for me for just appreciating nature, appreciating the silence. And I used to go hiking with my brother a lot, and he's kind of similar to me, but we had this agreement. We would talk, we had moments where we talk, and then if there was a point where one of us didn't want to say anything or wanted to be in the silence, we would say, just walk, no talk. And we both knew
And
what
that's
that
the
meant.
flow,
Yeah, and that's the flow.
right?
And
That's the dance now.
it was
Now you're in
really,
alignment.
yeah, it was
We
really
respect
easy.
one another.
Exactly. And that brings me to, that's about sharing. What are your boundaries? People don't know. Like I could have, you saying that, Sarah, was kind of like, oh my God, you should hear the noise at my place at the moment. I've got builders in the background. And all that sort of stuff. Thankfully, Zoom's, filtering it out. But I mean, I wouldn't have understood that. Yeah, I'm glad I'm on the other side of the screen. Look at that punch coming. So,
Telling you, slamming doors, people
yeah,
upstairs living in that apartment. So
yeah,
it's a lack of respect, and there's a disconnect at the flow. So when there's a mutual respect, you're back in flow again.
exactly. And sharing what your boundaries are, you can really build that trust and mutual respect as well. Because most people don't want to aggravate other people, not intentionally anyway. Yeah. Anyone else like to jump in, Laurelyn?
But just to say, on what to again, come in what Sarah and you are talking about reminds me of Brene Brown. She says her famous quote is clarity is kindness, or clarity is help me out, ladies. Is it clarity is kindness? I always say it that way, but I feel like it's clarity is kind, or it's something along those lines of when we communicate to people and we're clear about what our boundaries are, that is kind. So not communicating and then maybe yelling at somebody when they didn't understand where the line was the first time, or so she's saying the more clear that we communicate what our needs are, that the more kind that we're being.
Absolutely. And a classic example is, for me, I just don't like getting phone calls after 7 o'clock at night. And there's people out there who love to phone you after 7 o'clock at night, and I found myself getting like really resentful of those people, rather than just saying, when I did say, look, please don't ring me after 7 o'clock at night. It's one of my things. I just don't like to take phone calls. It's the end of the day. It's my time, that kind of thing. Once people understand that, they're kind of like, okay, sure, rather than just being silent and not having any clarity around how you communicate that to people. Yeah, really good. Shaz, did you want to chime in? She's just trying to unmute.
Trying to unmute.
Yeah.
The big thing with boundaries is they're very hard to stick to when you're not telling people what they are. And sometimes expressing what the line in the sand is can be painful and uncomfortable. And especially when you're receiving on the other end of the problem and you don't want to hurt their feelings. And that's the people pleaser that rises up and goes, oh, I won't say anything. And that's where resentment builds. But when you're strong in your values and yourself and your identity, it's actually the benefit to both parties to express what the boundary is. You don't know what you don't know. If they don't know that it's a problem, they can't change their behavior. And this is where you start to really realize whether their behavior is on purpose or not. whether they're truly crossing a boundary by choice or by accident in design. And that matters because that creates friction. And when you're laying down boundaries with friends and family and they continue to breach them, this is where the deeper conversation comes in and the greater discomfort. And unfortunately, in my life, I've had to lay boundaries down and then walk away from people from them because I will not tolerate disrespect in that way and the breach of the boundaries that are important to me. And that's a choice. I know lots of people that will just roll over. I personally won't do that. But in doing that, the self-love and the worth that I've created from that choice is phenomenal. And I'll never go back. And I'm grateful for those experiences that now give me the opportunity. When you are crossing my boundaries, I'll have a gentle conversation. And if you continue to do it, I will pull you up. And on the third go, I will tell you, stop, or these are the consequences. And some people never listen.
Yeah. And that's their, and that's also their stuff to work with, isn't it? If you can still be clear in that and be prepared to let people go, it's a really important aspect. But something else you said, you know, how do you, that people pleaser that rises in a lot of people, not everyone is a people pleaser, but a lot of women are. And, you know, how do you get from that perspective of working with or resolving any conflicts within yourself around being a people pleaser to be that person who can stand in their place? And I think Sarah sort of touched on it. It's about really going back and say, you know, what is it in my life, or what is it in my patterning and self-understanding of myself that creates this need to put everyone first, that creates this need to say no to myself, and, you know, and doing that work that to get from there to there in because it's easy to say, oh, you know, just stick to your values and that kind of thing, but it's not so easy in practice. So doing the inner work is really important, isn't it?
And that's one of the factors that I teach, and as part of my coaching practice and the work I do, I have a group program called Shine with Shaz, and we delve into that, and it's about the healing journey, finding the root cause of where the problem came in the first place. But for me, it's about your own true identity. When you know who you are and you value yourself, and everyone will tell you that, oh my God, you can't put yourself first. You have to be the number one priority in your life. Okay. From my perspective, we are a soul that is the caretaker of a human. So not a human with a soul, but we're a soul with a caretaker of the human, or the human is the caretaker of the soul. Either way. But it's our job to nurture that first. Your parents birth you, and from 0 to 18, it's their job to nurture and grow and help you evolve to the point where you take over the care of your soul, your existence, your identity, yourself. And you're your number one priority. And if you don't fill that cup and you don't nurture you first and you don't prioritize you first, you fall down. And if you can't take care of you, how on earth are you going to please anybody else? And people will tell you it's selfish. It's not. It's the most selfless thing you can do. You are the caretaker of your soul. You have to take care of it first. And the human that exists within that soul. Like it's a co-creation, because one, you create trauma, you create problems, and we have to heal. We have to go back in the timeline, in the process, to let go of the triggers. For me, the trigger is the greatest gift on earth, right? If someone triggers me, my first thought straight away is thank you, Lord. Because you've just shown me an area in my life that I'm incongruent. And that's the thing. It's the incongruency of the thought, of the feeling, that creates the trigger. We're not responsible for other people's triggers. That's on them. And if we're triggering them, we are giving them the greatest gift of healing that we can possibly offer.
Yeah. And so doing that, and the only way to do that is to really look within. And what came up for me then was really taking responsibility for your own self. not putting blame on others, and immediately you put blame on somebody else, you're giving a piece of yourself away or giving away your power. When you can take radical responsibility for the part you play in your life, because we're all, you know, let's face it, we're all the common denominator in our own lives. Whatever scenario we're in there. So we must be playing a part in any outcome that we get in some way, whether it be big or small, or, you know, however that works. But so when we can take, and I often talk to people about this, you know, in that thing that's happening to you, what responsibility or what role are you taking in that, of getting that outcome? And it's often a difficult pill to swallow that you are partly responsible for how things are turning out in your life. And until you do that, you really can't come back into that, starting to bring that power back and to be able to stand in alignment, as Sarah talks about it, in your own life. Interesting. Anyone else want to jump in, Joanne?
Yeah, I take yeah, definitely. I agree with all of what you're saying, Shaz and Jennylee. I was reflecting back to when I was a single mum, and you know, having 4 children and running a business, like that's a whole nother level. Boundaries in business, isn't it? But yeah, you know, there's things that we have to do. We just have to keep going. And this was something I remember learning, that for me to keep it all together, I would have to, I'd drop the children at school and then I'd go to the gym before I started work. And that was my time to just reset. And it definitely made a huge difference, because then I could work till midnight. I had the energy, I could sustain myself because I was giving back to me. And then over the years, it's been a long journey of learning, right? Because we go through those seasons, like motherhood, then, you know, then empty nested, where you have more freedom to just give back to yourself. And really, it's not selfish, is what you're saying, Shaz, and I get that, because I feel for me, the more I give to myself, the more I can give to others. That's been a mantra for a long time. And that's sustainable. Being sustainable around that is really important. But yeah, let's talk about the business side, right? That was another level, because as the people pleaser, and what happens is we burn out. We get overwhelmed, we burn out. And as a people pleaser, you want to, I always give more than what I expect in my business, but I give it from a full cup. I don't give it from an empty one. Now, I used to give it from an empty one, because I was desperate for that love. And that was my deepest wounding, you know, that self-love. And I was pleasing and overgiving from a place of, you know, look at me, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to be felt, I wanted to, you know, be liked. And there was a long period of time that I didn't even know that was running in the background. And when you talk about you're giving people that gift, yes, but often they don't even know that's a gift. So how do we gently massage that into the giving? I mean, there's so much in it, isn't it? It's this topic that we could talk about. But yeah, learning to love yourself is the deepest, you know, best gift you can give. And working on those wounds, working on that trauma, and realizing that we are here to learn. Like, what are we going to learn from this? Each time something happens now, what am I going to learn? Okay. And everything. Communication too. I love that. And Sarah, I love your analogies. So cool. So cool. Yeah.
So many things came up then. And one of them was, you know, I've often wondered, it's about the energetic space that you come from when you're doing things. Sometimes you can be doing the same thing, but for me, it's been, am I doing this because I'm feeling empty and need someone else to fill my cup? or am I doing this from a place of being a full cup and just wanting to be generous? You know, so on the outside, it might seem the same to everyone else, yet on the inside, it's one will drain you and one will fill you up. So whenever I get to a place where I'm going, you know, what is my real motivation for doing this thing? I always check in. Am I doing it because I really want people to like me, or want people to think that I'm generous, or don't want to be seen as selfish or something? Or am I doing it because, no, I know who I am. I'm a generous person and I'm doing this from a full cup. It's completely different. And one, yeah, like I said, one will send you into burnout and the other one will fill you up every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Lauren,
an energetic thing.
Laurel, and you wanted to jump in there at one point. Did you want to say something?
Sure. I was really resonating with what Shaz was saying, about, you know, taking that everything is a lesson, and how, what are they teaching me, and seeing the gift. I wrote a book called Manaholic, A Journey to Recovering Me, because I had been groomed from the womb to believe that I needed a man to survive. And from that belief, I made really poor choices that landed me in really bad places. So as I started to uncover and really get to know me, what are my values? What are my missions? What is my, what's my vision for myself? And really starting to stand in that, what I noticed was that I no longer fit into the same circles that I did before. And it felt lonely at first. I felt like there was a lot of loss, like I was losing friendships and relationships, 20 years. And I had to have like a come to me moment, because I was like, okay, you're mourning all these relationships, but they're requiring you to shrink into something that you no longer are in order to be in that. And it's a way to reclaim to myself that it's me first, as Shaz was saying, right? Like, this is, I choose me first above anybody else. I choose to show up authentically and to honor myself first. And it felt really uncomfortable for me at first to do that. And it did feel like loss. But now I recognize that every time that I do that, I reinforce my self-love, I reinforce my self-worth. And it makes it for me easier and easier to keep those boundaries, and to really be in a place where I feel that I'm in alignment with who I am at a core. And so there's no relationship that the best relationship is the one that I have with myself.
And when you do that, look at the people you attract. So you just end up creating new and different relationships that are more in line with who you really are now. Because we all have this.
I'm in heaven over here with all this deliciousness of the ladies that I'm sharing this panel with, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so in alignment. And I can't wait to connect with everybody. And God, I don't know who's watching us, but I'm sure I think that you're delicious too, and not in a perverted way. So let me be clear on boundaries here. It means, it's exciting to be in spaces where people share same values.
Yeah. And the joy and peace and all the great things that come with being able to do that, rather than the other way, which is the draining way. And we all grow and change. Sarah, you wanted?
I'm generally not a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I haven't been. I probably could figure that one out. I don't care. If you don't like me, too bad. But I want to win. And so there's that component too. I grew up in the system. We all did. We're all institutionalized in some way, the school system, the control systems, the corporate system. And the system says, you have to prove to me that you know the material, you got to get the A, you got to hit my standards, and it's something that I'm judging whether you're passing or failing, right? That's kind of the systems we've grown up in. So in some sense, I'm a system pleaser. And that's caused a lot of trauma for me. But so it's scarcity, right? It's zero sum. I win, you lose. It's competitive, right? If you could imagine me on the basketball court as a point guard, the tiny one, I'm throwing elbows. I'm getting the rebound. I'm making sure that ball doesn't pass the boundary. But I'm not people pleasers. There's a difference. If you don't like me, too bad. But the system is what really kind of gave me a lot of trauma. And that's something too that requires some introspection. Like, well, if the system isn't going to work, then I'm going to walk away, or it's not, or I'm going to find something else, I'm going to reinvent. So there's also that component of boundaries as well. And for me, I walked away from a 20-year career because I hit burnout from pleasing a system, pleasing a boss, getting, the right, I guess, year-end review. And after a while, that really took a toll on my psyche and my emotion. And that's when I said, that's it, I quit. And now I'm reinventing, I'm transforming, and my book is coming out as a result. So there's a lot of really great things in the horizon because I basically put my foot down and said, no, I'm done. Peace out. Boundary is no longer going to be pushed.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. Not everyone is a people pleaser, yet the similarities are that we all are under some sort of judgment, whether it's self-judgment or judgment from others to, to get it right, to get it perfect, to work the longest hours, to, get the A's, get, the best report out, whatever it is. We're all under some sort of judgment. And the hard no that we were talking about earlier is when you come to a point and you go, this doesn't work for me anymore. Like my analogy is that I really felt there was a point in my life where if I didn't change something and I knew that I had to take responsibility for that, I may as well take my soul out, put it on the ground and just stomp on it with the heel of my boot myself, because it was kind of like, I'm woken up to something's wrong. What am I going to do about it now? So I'm loving that everyone seems to have written a book in here. Me too. So I think we've really got great stories to share. And, the other thing that comes up for me about boundaries is that even though I've put this as a whole topic this time is, what if we didn't need to put boundaries in place? What would that look like? For me, sometimes when I see it, especially in the spiritual community, and I love everyone in the spiritual community, but there seems to be this element of, I need to put a boundary in place because something's going to attack me. And if I don't put it in place, then I'll get attacked. And for me, that is a little bit counterintuitive. For me, I'd prefer to walk in a space where I just build my own energy up so much, stick to my values, be in alignment, energetically make my aura bigger and more sturdy and more fulfilled, where everything else just doesn't come in. You stop being the people pleaser. You just kind of like, I don't care what y'all do. That's my attempt at some sort of American accent. I don't care what you all do. I'm just so self-full that I don't need to put, these almost walls up or something. Maybe it's not a boundary. Like I still have boundaries, but do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it 100%, 100%. And it's evident in and it's evident in how you live your life.
Yeah.
What you attract, right? What shows up in your energy, what shows up in your world. And that hard no that you just talked about could be just walking away without having to, say anything or give any reasoning. So the evidence, and that's freedom.
Yeah.
To me, that's freedom. Right. And that's taken me a long time to get to that. I'm telling you now, it's just because I had to do so much work internally on my own trauma and my own, stuff, that now it doesn't matter what people do. Let them. Who's heard the let them theory, right? That's just, when I heard that a couple of years ago, I went, yeah, that's so cool. And I just use it on my family all the time now. It's like, what is it our business? It's their journey, right? We have no business. All we have to take care of is ourself. We're responsible, and as you said, radically responsible for our own actions, our own journey, and what we do about it, and our own choices. So it's so free, isn't it? Do you feel the energy of that? It's a vibration that you just walk, and and you attract the people, like you said, we attract. It's phenomenal. I had a lady come to me, did a follow-up with a lady. I held a little program, free program over 4 weeks to help women be seen, play bigger in the business world. And one of the feedback I got was, and this woman didn't even get on the call. She watched the replays, so nobody actually knew her. And it was like, I was just blown away by the caliber of women in that room. Right. And I'm like, oh, yeah. It's just a good reminder for me. It's evidence. Let's just stack the evidence. What else can we attract? Live in that energy.
And it's coming together from a place of being fulfilled. Like we're all of the 5 of us on the call, and Sophia's 6 on the call today, we're all coming together from a place of fulfilled women and co-creating something bigger than ourselves, rather than sort of trying to outdo each other and, you know, all the things that happen when you're not that. So it's really a great space to be, and that we can all start going for that if wherever we are on our journey. So just to wrap up in the last 10 minutes or so, maybe go around the room to, you know, what would be a tip for people who are on this journey around setting boundaries, whether they're working on themselves or not. What would be a tip that you would give them to, you know, something easy they could do straight away? Anyone want to jump in first? Chaz.
Oh,
Sorry. You go, Joanne.
Oh, I was just going to say, read the 4 agreements.
Yeah.
Don't take things personally, number 1.
Yeah, truth. Yeah. Thank you. Laurelyn? Oh, Shaz? There you go.
Sorry. I was just going to say that I lost the 4 agreements. Love that book. It was life-changing, seriously. But the easiest thing when you're looking at boundaries, as I think Sarah mentioned before, or Laurelyn, does this bring me joy? Is doing said option going to make me happy first? Is it going to fill my cup? Is it going to bring me satisfaction? Is it something worthwhile from my perspective? And as long as it is, then go and do it. And if it's just to fit in or because someone else says so, then don't waste your time, because all that's going to happen is you're going to resent it. You're going to find problems within it, and trust the flow. My biggest thing is, if it's right, it works. But if you're going to do something and all you get are red lights, roadblocks, detours, pay attention to those signs. Like, I could get full body tingles talking about this. The biggest thing with boundaries or acceptance of any structure of life is, where does it sit in the body? We have a pendulum inside. We have an essence of our soul. Is this for me? If you're leaning towards it, then yes, it is. And if you're naturally inclining to pull back, there's your answer. Your own body language will tell you whether things are right or wrong. And it doesn't have to be because everybody else is doing it. Like, we can get on bandwagons and, oh my God, this is the latest trend. Everyone's doing it. Must be the right thing. But is it the right thing for you?
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Shaz. Sarah?
I'll say, don't get pushed around, right? Find your flow. Be in the game of life. When it's in flow, you don't have to worry about boundaries, and know your worth, right? Practice your worth. I'm worth it. I'm worthy. I have self-worth and self-love. And once you get there, now you can flow freely. I'm happy. This feels good. And if you get pushed around, the answer is no. Get away from me. Enough. Time out.
Yeah. Great. Not without blowing the whistle. Yeah, Laurelyn?
I love what everybody said, so I want to make sure that I don't duplicate it. I add something a little different, a different ingredient to our mix. Because I struggled with boundaries for so many years when I was, and you know, what I love to do is talk to the people who might not have, they don't have the strength yet to conjure up the boundaries. Some of what we're talking about, the hard nose, you know, or those things. And what I say is, start small and start with the people that love you. And how I started was, I had a conversation of, listen, I'm really working on my boundaries. So you might be hearing no from me a little bit more. and I need you to be supportive of that. Is that a role that you can fulfill for me? And then I started with the people that I trust and that I loved and I felt safe with, and I built it up slowly. So if you're somebody who's starting from zero, you have people pleasing tendencies, then that would be my recommendation to you, is start slowly, build on it. It's like everything else, like working out. They say you go to the gym, if you want big muscles, you got to work out on a regular basis, and boundaries are the same. Just start small, get comfortable, keep reinforcing them. And before you know it, you'll be boundary queen like Sarah over here. It's all good.
Yeah, beautiful. I was going to say something similar. So the other thing I would do is, often we focus on what's not working. And want to try to fix that or change that or something. So to balance all of that out, I would suggest people write down, where in your life do you think you do put your boundaries in? Where, and really find out and really feel into it, think into it, and sit with it, is to say, well, what's different between where I do put my boundaries in and where I don't put my boundaries in? And what can I duplicate more of rather than sink into the other way of being? So just changing the focus a little bit. But I really love all those suggestions. I love the conversations today, and I'm going to invite Sophia to come in and finish off the session today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jennylee, and yes, thank you, everyone. And oh my God, what a wonderful conversation. I'm just going to say ditto. First of all, ditto to the 4 agreements. And Sarah, thank you. I never even considered noise, boundaries of noise. And it's like, oh my God, yes. So complete aha moment for me. So I want to appreciate you, and Shaz, and Laurelyn, and the beautiful Joanne, and of course Jennylee for being on today's Wisdom Circle. And so for anyone who is watching or listening to the live or the replay, do click on the links below and reach out to these amazing women. And while you're there, check out Sacred You, of course, sacredyou.love, for all our upcoming programs. I do think Joanne is coming up very next week for Joanne's Wisdom Circle, Reclaiming the Self, Stepping into the Self. Looking forward to that. We've got many more coming up. We're all the way up to the end of December, so do stay tuned. And wherever you are in our world, have a beautiful day. And thank you.
But also we're doing the Women's Connection call on Saturday morning as well, if anyone wants to join that.
Yes, we are. So do click on those links below and check us out for the beautiful Women's Connection call that Jo facilitates every month. Saturday morning here in Australia, Friday night for those in the US. Have a beautiful